Okay, next up is The Man Who Invented Christmas. Now, I saw this in theaters, and it's in English, and it's about the author of the guy who wrote A Christmas Carol. And we open up with the author, clearly it's the guy, and then he's in this house, because I don't know anything about this guy. But the movie acts like you should already know, like, once you see the setup, okay, yeah, I've already know everything about this guy, so this takes place right then at this part in this guy's life. But I don't know anything about him. So the movie opens up with him in his house having some sort of renovations. There's this girl there, there's this guy there, and then there are these kids there. And in the first 5-10 minutes or so, you realize, okay, he's married. This is his best friend and co-producer. He's also in business with him, but he's also his best friend. He also has kids, like 4 or 5 kids or something like that. And he has his house renovated. And then what would happen every couple of scenes is that one scene would happen which has nothing to do with the next available scene. Like, there's this one that stands out the most after a good couple of months of watching this, was that he finds out his wife is pregnant. He has a process that's incredibly demanding. Incredibly brilliant, but demanding. And so he locks himself away, which he apparently has done before in his previous works. He locks himself away in the study, and through this traumatic event, comes up with this brilliant storytelling. And he's a joy to be around. He's very friendly. He's very imaginative with the help and the kids. But interrupt the process. This, like, geez, like, starts breathing fire and brimstone and this and that, and it's like, well, he is under a lot of stress, as we see throughout this film. So it's kind of understandable, and trust me, I've been there, where it's like, I'm trying to do something, could you please stop interrupting me? So, anyway, the inconsistencies, like I said, with Edith and I, was that there's no real setup. People talk, and you try to get whatever information you can out of their little, their little back and forths to get their dynamic. He's not just some guy he knows or a business partner, he's his best friend. Oh, that's not his girlfriend or fiance, that's his wife. Oh, okay. She refers to him as darling. Or, she doesn't use any more better descriptive nouns or something, So it's not exactly the best, like, informed opening, but you're like, okay, they're introducing these characters not 100% well, but at least they're there, and not, like, you don't see anyone else, introduced, like, the kids are being introduced 20 minutes later or anything like that, so, so at least they're showing everybody who's in the house in the opening scenes of the film. But anyway, he's having this money problem, so he's constantly telling people, I'll pay you later. And so we're racking up his woes, basically, in the first, like, a little after the first 20 minutes or so. We see his problems, and we see more and more of his problems. And then we think, okay, so that should be the end of his problems, because the story should be, okay, and now he needs more funding in order to move forward to write the book. Because publishing costs money. His publishing house is, like, not willing to pay for this, for whatever reason. And so he says he needs more money to get this done. I want quality in this book. And they said they don't want to do quality. And eventually he ends up, like, leaving them or something, I forget. Or has an argument with them because he wants top quality. Because he really wants this to sell, because he really needs the money now to pay for the this stuff in his life. So he says, "Okay, I have an idea," to his best friend. Right now, I'll go to the tailor and get a new suit. And his friend says, "Why do you need a new suit?" "Because my father always said, a man will believe anything is willing to buy anything from a man in a nice suit." And then, so he goes into the tailor's, and then we cut to the next scene, and he's at his lawyer's office, where he is seeing about the results of a lawsuit against somebody else. So the whole setup of him getting the new suit was to see his lawyer. That makes no goddamn sense. Why would he need to impress his lawyer? And then it turns out that who they're suing is filed for bankruptcy, so they get no money. And the attorney says, you have to pay the bill. And he says, "If you wait until after New Year's, I'll pay you extra if you wait." And he says, "Fine." That's it. That's all it's become of the line about the new suit. Because he doesn't use the suit for anything else. We don't see him doing any other business actions in that suit, really, for anything else. He might still use it, but it's not like he's trying to sell or convince anybody else that he hasn't already spoken to, or anything else. So the suit line about it from his dad doesn't do anything. And it's just like, then what was the point of that? But then after that, after about like the 40-minute mark or whatever, after all that stupid stuff happens, we see him inventing the character and why, the inspirations, all that is brilliant and gorgeous, and it really draws you in. But, some scenes keep just kind of, this happens, and then this happens, and it's like, again, why would this happen and then this happen? And other stuff, like, why does his dad constantly just keep getting money from him? Extorting money from the publishers. Taking, his son's garbage of his manuscripts that he throws away to sell on the open market. Why does he keep doing that? When he's coming to visit and mooch off him so goddamn much in every shape, way, and form, to the point where it's understandable when the kid says, "Just fucking leave." And he does. And then he shows the dad mercy to come back on Christmas Day. And then he says he'll help him and take care of him and get through all this. And so a lot just kind of more happens, just kind of because the story kind of more needs to, I guess, at times. So there are parts in there that are very distracting because stuff just feels too distantly related. It has a happy ending, yes. I think it just suffers from a lot of pacing issues, editing issues in the script, not necessarily in the movie, but in the script. Editing for, pacing wise and connectivity of scene to scene. But those are only very small parts of the film. That's less than, maybe, I would say around 35% tops of this movie that just doesn't make any real sense, neither narratively, editorially, structurally, or logically, or character-wise, but a lot of it does convey heartache, trauma, the creative process, and trust me, it does look like that. I'm sitting in an empty room talking to a voice recorder. Yes, that is a good representation of the creative process. Like in Hamlet 2, the movie Hamlet 2, we see the montage of the guy writing the sequel, the Hamlet for the school play. I should do a review on that. That movie is hysterical. But yeah, he says, sometimes you gotta go just a little bit nuts to write really fantastic art. And yeah, as this movie showcases, the the guy goes kind of nuts writing this thing. Inventing the characters, breathing life into them, to the point where they protest and strike against him because they don't agree with what he's doing with the story or how he's progressing. You know, so yeah, that is the creative process. Um, which I still highly recommend all these movies. I still recommend Edits and I recommend The Man Who Invented Christmas. I also recommend uh, Hamlet 2. Uh, because it's just that good. It has quality, it has era. They don't use pop songs, which I like, is that they don't use pop songs in that movie.